It has become increasingly difficult to recommend custom PC builds over the past few years. Graphics cards were subjected to relentless supply constraints after 2020. Entire brands like Radeon scaled back production of higher-end models and completely abandoned top-tier stuff in the wake of Nvidia's relentless dominance, though not in the value department, unfortunately. And manufacturers can't seem to figure out how to solve the whole my graphics card burned down situation around these guys right here. But this is just one segment, one piece of a very complicated puzzle, so to speak. Some of it can be circumvented with the used market. We'll talk a bit more about that later. And I've been a big advocate of used graphics cards for quite some time for reasons we just mentioned. But what happens when other stuff follows suit? It's no secret Nvidia shifted focus away from gamers in favor of workstation and AI applications. We can complain about it all we want, but it's the way things are currently. Nvidia works for its shareholders, and the shareholders follow profits. There's more profit in AI, so that's where the bulk of R&D and marketing discretionary funds are allocated. But what about memory? And well, in the middle of editing this video, it turns out AMD's been flip-flopping on its driver support for older generation cards. What on earth is going on in this industry? We'll talk about memory and more coming up in a second. I hope you will stay with me.
Are you sitting on a gaming PC without an activated copy of Windows? Forget $100+ retail keys, instead snag an OEM Windows 11 key for a fraction of the price to unlock the full potential of the OS. Oh, and don't worry, they'll still remove those pesky activation watermarks. Just click the links below to get started today, and be sure to use our special offer code SKGS for a sweet discount on a variety of options including Windows 11 Pro, Home, and more.
You may have noticed over the past few weeks a sharp uptick in DRAM prices, more prominent in DDR5, though DDR4 does appear to at least partially be affected as well. PC Part Picker's price trends show anywhere between 40 and 100% price increases for the latest generation of desktop memory. That is insane. 100% price increase means the price doubled. That brings run-of-the-mill kits like 32 gigs of G.Skill FlareX 5 at 6,000 MTs and a CL of 36 up from a little over 100 USD to nearly 200. More premium kits like Corsair Dominator Titaniums are essentially unobtainiums at this point. And why? AI. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Sudden demand spikes for both HBM and server-grade DDR5 have resulted in manufacturers shifting inventory toward what's proven to be more lucrative, if the GPU market at least is any indication. These products are generally higher margin, and only so many memory chips can be produced at any given time at any given fab. This means that more conveyor belts are pulled away from gamers and toward large language and AI models. It's actually kind of baffling, seeing how absurd some RAM prices have gotten. DDR4, for what it's worth, does seem significantly less impacted, likely due to age and overall demand, but it's still noticeably pricier than it was just a month ago, potentially soiling the viability of even older, budget-oriented PC builds. Just about the best deal I could find was a G.Skill Aegis series 16 gig kit at 3200 MTs and CL 1618-1838. Not the best performance, but decent considering what most other kits are going for nowadays. 32 gig kits, which I would recommend as a bare minimum for gaming today, are well north of $100 unfortunately, with even laptop spec modules pushing nearly $10 a gig. This has crept slowly into SSDs as well, mind you. No doubt RAM has been significantly more affected, but you may have also noticed 2.5-inch and M.2 SSDs gradually increasing in price over the past few weeks. The upticks are less prominent, with most jumping only about 10 to 20% from what I've seen so far from their bases earlier in the year, but this compounds an already serious issue in the DIY space. Just about the only storage unaffected is hard disk drives, which have a different use case entirely and are generally less desired for performance-oriented AI models and workstations. But that doesn't really help us gamers much because we've largely moved away from hard disk drives in modern PCs. Now, PC builders are contending with price hikes and competitive abandonment on three fronts. That's graphics cards, that's RAM, and that's storage. A three-front battle is pretty nuts, and that's literally half a PC. I mean, combine that with the ever-changing tariff issue stateside, along with shrinking discretionary spending, and you have a recipe for one of the worst times to build a computer that I can remember. And I'm not that old, but in my 10, 15 years of being in this space, this isn't great, and I'm not exaggerating. As a content creator, I kind of feel the flip side of this. Now, I know you guys don't really care much about what we're going through. It's a very niche position to be in. But these market conditions make it difficult to even justify PC build videos in the first place. I mean, if no one wants to build, why would anyone watch? And I get it. Like, I understand why the sentiment is down, and it's down in the dumps. Like, it's why I'm thankful for our Fix or Flop and PCDC playlist, because when no one wants to build new PCs, they're presumably using their older ones longer if they already have some, and that necessitates the need for extra repairs and general maintenance. Those videos are not going anywhere. And they've become more or less our bread and butter, if I'm being honest. But if you find yourself wondering where build videos are, and this isn't just about my channel, by the way, this extends to other channels that I've noticed as well. Their content's changing because it has to. This is at least partly why, I would say. And that's not to say that these won't ever show up again. From time to time, one PC build may pop up every now and then, and we'll do our best to make it interesting despite the economic uncertainty. It's just unfortunate that it's come to this. I mean, ever since about 2020, this industry has been all out of whack, in my opinion, and I've never been more stumped when a friend or family member asks for PC building advice. It's partly why, again, I just want to make this video sitting in front of the camera and talking to you all, because I have been so stumped. I honestly have. It is so difficult to just throw out consistent PC building content when folks don't want to watch it because sentiment is down. And that can be a dangerous spiral, by the way. If sentiment is down, the indicators for brands, manufacturers, designers are also down, less innovation. That sparks even less interest, less demand by the audience, and then it compounds itself, right? It almost feels like this overall downward trend with these smaller and smaller highs over time. Who really knows? I don't have a crystal ball. All I can say is, yeah, now building a new PC with new parts pretty much sucks. So in general, yes, now would be a pretty horrid time to compile any new parts list, unless your motivation is simply, I don't know, pain and misery. Just about the only way I see getting around these issues we've just talked about are A, buy used graphics cards, B, build older DDR4 based systems, and C, avoid high density SSDs in favor of smaller boot drives accompanied by large capacity hard disk drives. And all three, I would say, are probably warranted in this situation here. I'm sure some of you, those aren't concessions you're willing to make, and that's totally fine, right? I'm just recommending a spinning disk. I mean, it feels weird recommending a spinning disk drive for any 2025 gaming PC. And I know some of you will shy away from DDR4 because of the lack of upgradability, and others will repel anything and everything used in the GPU space, fearing the cards in question may have been mined with or abused previously, or maybe both. Again, I don't blame you for any of those sentiments. They are tough predicaments, but those are the routes I would take for sure if I was building anything, especially on a sub $1,000 budget. Anything more, and I may concede to swallow some of those price hikes, maybe not all of them. I might buy a certain motherboard over another if I had like one in mind. It's not the end of the world if I don't buy that really expensive one, or same goes for DDR5, right? But ultimately it does come down to personal preference, and all I can do is really present options and tell you how I would navigate. My only hope is that these conditions wane quickly again, as this certainly puts a damper on the industry as a whole. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing and sticking around for the next. My name is Greg. Thanks for learning with me.